Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
Hope you're all doing very well tonight. This is Ali.
Hello.
And I'm Leslie. Tonight's topic is shamanism. And of course, we have a guest speaker tonight, Tai India. We do have, in the next couple of weeks, certain things lined up. So on the 19th, which is next Tuesday, there will be a guest speaker from India, and he'll be talking about Ayurvedic. And also on the 26th of this month, we actually have another person lined up, and she is actually from America, and she'll be talking with us about astrology. Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yes.
Great. And tonight's meditation will be a drumming meditation that leads into a chakra meditation, so that will be also fabulous.
Yeah.
So Tai will be taking that, and that will start at 8 o'clock. So our talk will run till about 7:45, and we'll have a 15-minute break. So that's when you can get really comfortable and find a nice spot where you can really relax. Very important. The more relaxed you can be, the deeper the meditation will go, and you will really benefit more from that. So that would be very wise to do. And on your screen, you'll also see above you will be a chakra picture. So you can refer to that if you're not quite sure. And throughout the meditation, Tai might refer to a colour to represent a chakra. If you don't see the colour, just feel it, sense it. We all have different abilities, and just really relax and go with it. Yeah. And yes, so we'll be doing that at 8 o'clock. And also remember that this broadcast is an interactive broadcast as well, so please feel welcome to ask any questions. You will also see up in the right-hand corner of your screen 9 dots. So if you'd like to ask a question or contribute to tonight's conversation, please do. Just press on that button and ask away. So tonight's topic will be shamanism. It's said that shamanism could be well over 40,000 years old, so that must make it one of the oldest belief systems in healing, spiritualism, and connecting to source and what they refer to as the knowing. So yeah, it's a very deep and lovely topic. Yeah, so we'll be looking forward to doing that.
And we'll introduce Tai.
Yes, so lead us away. And wonder what your interpretation of the shamanism is and your experience as being a shaman. Could you share that with us?
Well, hello there, everybody. As you know, my name is Tai Walking Deer. I'll tell you a little bit about the journey I've been on so far. When I was about 7 years of age, I was opened up by what they call Karachi, Featherfoot Indigenous Australian. From that point on, I've seen things and felt things totally different than everybody else. Even when I was going to school and things like that, by the age of 13, I could read other people's minds, knew what they were saying before they actually opened their mouths. And I didn't fully comprehend this, but I knew I had to keep it to myself, what I've seen and what I felt. During my time in the army, I met a Shaolin monk. And the Shaolin monk taught me many things. Taught me also one thing about being humble. And with his journeys, we travelled through to Thailand, and I spent 6 months in a temple with him. On the deeper understanding of the mind and meditation, and what meditation can achieve through our understanding and connection with spirit. But like most other people, I still didn't fully get it, so I was still confused and went many different ways trying to seek answers. Then I went to America and went to the Grand Canyon. And out from a distance, I heard this voice. I've been waiting. I looked around and said, what? He said, follow me. I'm thinking, I normally don't do this, but something inside me told me to follow him. And that's when I met the American Medicine Man. He taught me all about herbs, how to use them, how to heal, and how to connect with nature. He gave me an example once. He needed some herbs from this tree and there was bees all over it, and he asked the bees to move so he could pick a little bit for himself, and the bees actually moved. I seen this with my own eyes. And then he picked what he needed. He said, thank you. But he taught me many other things, how to truly connect with nature, how to see nature for what it truly is. And still I had a little bit to learn. So I stayed with him for well over 3 to 5 years. We communicated in many different ways. And afterwards, I met my final teacher, a Celtic shaman, who has a place at the Queen's Castle in Scotland for the true seers. He still has that place to this day. And from him I learnt many different things. And from that I learnt one thing is how to understand and connect truly with spirit and what we can achieve from it. There are many different types of shaman. There's about 4 different types. One is called the healer, one is called the seer, one is called the trickster, and the 4th one is called the shapeshifter. Very few people have the ability of connecting the whole 4 to one.
Fascinating.
So in saying that, would each shaman have their own specialties and gifts?
Definitely, each shaman has different connections. It's just like how people, when they first start on their spiritual journey, there's different senses. One might feel more, one might see more, one might hear more.
Okay.
It just depends on which one they're strong in at that time. And through their teacher, they learn how to overcome fears and incorporate the other ones, the whole 4 together.
Okay, so it's the togetherness of those 4 things that make the shaman.
Virtually, because by that point he has the knowledge of the connection with the spirit, the connection with the universe, and through having the connection with the spirit, because once he reaches that point, they do what they call a shamanic death. And by doing a shamanic death, you're virtually giving yourself up to spirit. And from that point on, it's like, how would you say, I don't read many books, as usual. Know your spiritual yourselves.
Yeah.
And all my knowledge comes from either experience or from spirit.
Is there a certain time span, like for a person to develop into a shaman, or like does it happens when the time is right for that particular person?
Normally when the person is seeking the truth or the true answers to try to find himself, he starts seeking answers, because certain things don't add up within himself. He might have the perfect partner, or she might have the perfect partner, but inside there's something missing, and it's that connection with the spirit. So most people I would just say, use less than 5% of their brain. Where in the subconscious, which is the other 95% of the brain, is where all the shamans live.
Okay.
Yeah.
We see things in a different world, as dimensions are within dimensions. As we raise our vibration, the more we raise our vibration, the more we see. There's been scientific studies that have been done that what people see between themselves is only 5% of what's really there, even though we think it's the whole picture. And if you think about it, that's 95% of what the shaman sees.
Yes.
What's in between us.
Yeah.
So that leaves open the ability for many different gifts and different tools or learning and experiences.
That's true. As one of my gifts is as a shapeshifter, I can connect with the through Skype and transform and change my complete being into different spiritual or different past lives. When people see that for themselves, it's, and why we can do that is because in reality we are only atoms and molecules, and atoms and molecules can be changed only by when we have a true connection
With spirit.
with spirit. When we have a true connection with spirit, then we're able to do things that most people think are impossible.
Like being in two places at one time.
Disappearing and shape-shifting. When a person sees a person shape-shift, it scares people at first, because they're seeing something for the very first time that they've been told is impossible.
Yep.
Yeah. So they either, may not understand it and not seek more information, or they may feel it themselves, and then that could spark off that.
But normally it's about fear, because if they accept certain things, then what else is there that they've been told that's impossible for them? So it starts them to think.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't want to look down that way, so they make excuses. I've been told that I've hypnotised somebody, or I've done this or I've done that after they've seen me shape-shifting. I even had one person deny it for 2 years. And then he finally told a friend of mine that yes, he's seen me shapeshift. Because when we first see it, a person changed their form in front of our eyes. It confuses everything within our knowing ability.
Yeah, contradicts everything that we've been told.
And there was one other lady, I didn't realise it, but when I disappeared under this time, she virtually fainted on me. And she said, "Don't ever do that again." And I'm thinking, I better not do that again.
Yeah.
But it's these abilities that I've learned how to go past my fear. It's shamanism is a lot about the fears that we have within us. We tell ourselves a lot of things to hide that fear, and we won't deal with it. But when you do a shamanic death, all your fears come up. And if you're not at the right place, then you don't pass.
Yeah. And you.
So virtually through all our experience, through our experiences, and that, even though a lot of it's magical and very special, that's what gives us our deep belief. But there's also, every time we do that, we're facing our fears too. Because our fears is what stops us from truly being our true self.
And that is what we're all seeking.
Every person on this planet, I believe, is trying to find their true self in one way or another. It's only there's a lot of things that we are led to believe that aren't true, and we hold on to those values.
So that's what makes shamanism and a shaman so special and powerful, is their belief system, isn't it, really? That connection.
It's not only their belief system.
I know it's real.
It's a shaman, it's from his teachers too. Without their experience and their knowledge in helping you through certain, you will never come through it, because part of it is going past the mind. And the mind is what's been controlling us since we've been young until we start changing it for ourselves.
Yeah.
And once we start gaining our own power, that's when the mind becomes very tricky and will throw everything at us, and it knows our weakest points.
Yes.
And that's when a shaman, as a healer, can bring up those fears so that people can deal with them in a different way. So, and then they can release it in many different ways, depending on the circumstances and trauma behind it. Sometimes the trauma goes right back to when they were a young child. And they carry it until they're adult, and they don't realise.
That's, it's really quite common in Indigenous cultures to do this, ancient healing, and to release all the trauma so it wouldn't go down the lines and to the next generations and things like that. So with the shamanism as well, they would, when you're doing your healings and bringing a person to that point for their own healing, so you're releasing a lot of those traumas.
Well, we're not releasing it because it's a two-way system in that part. What we do, we can like cure the sick, certain things, but when it's emotion attached to it, the person has, we bring the emotion up for the person and show them the best way to deal with it, but then the person has to go through it and release their fears themselves.
Yeah. And apply the tools that the shaman has guided them with.
Yeah. And have trust and faith in it.
Yeah.
And by doing that, you release your fears. And understanding the herbs that are around us also heals the physical body. So three, the mind, spirit and body, that are all connected as one. But when only two or one's dealt with, then that fear or that sickness will continue until that three are in balance. And that's what the shaman does, is balance the whole three into one.
And would you say that modern day shamanism and like ancient shamanism, are they still similar, or are they changed?
No, actually I see a big trend these days of when you ask these people, they call themselves shaman, and you ask them who their teachers were and that, and they say they have no teachers, and I find that to be very hard to come through, because without a teacher there'd be no way that I would fully understand and experience and have the knowledge that I have today.
Yeah.
Because if I was doing it myself, how would I know if I went past the mind or not? Or was it a mind experience or a spiritual experience?
Yeah.
Because that's where people get mixed up. The mind can also give you an experience, but you think it's a spiritual experience. Like if you read a book and then it gels with you, and then all of a sudden you have that experience. But because your mind's already experienced that, it's created it in another way.
Yeah. It's very powerful.
And that is why the mind is so hard to go through. Not many people understand the true concept. They say if you become a shaman, it's like 1 in 1,000, maybe even higher, that truly understands and has a dedication to go past their mind. Because it's everything we're taught in this world, shamanism, how would you say, is the opposite, or contradicts it.
Yeah, I suppose when you do start looking, you do realise that most of the stuff that you've been told, beliefs that you have, never were really ours.
Sort of come from somewhere else.
Yeah,
somebody else.
Yeah.
That's it, our thoughts until we start connecting with spirit and trusting in spirit, it's always somebody else's thought. It's when we take it and become ourselves, that's where the true magic and true power starts beginning. And it's from our experiences that we have. The more experiences that we have, as feature it as deep spiritual or dimensional way, then we can see that it is real. And we know that it exists.
Yeah.
So therefore our belief becomes stronger and stronger. Once you go past certain things you do, it's like a knowing. You can just sit and watch it, and what you've been given, and you just see it unfold every time as they've told you, so you get to trust it.
Yeah, so it's, you don't doubt it, because it just is.
But without the teachers' guidance and that from start to finish, I would never have fully understood it. It's only from their experience, because they've gone through it, that they can guide you and guide you past the mind.
Yeah, how to navigate past the mind.
The mind tells us a lot of things. It actually creates all our sickness. It's through our fears. What we fear we bring to ourselves. So if we can release our fears, then we don't need to go down that road. And people say, oh, I don't have a fear. But there's many different types of fears.
Fear of heights, or fear of travelling in airplanes and that kind of thing. And then there's other various deeper, different fears as well, and depending on the individual.
There's emotional fear, trauma, even fears that we don't even realise because we do it out of habit.
The fears of the society around us, how they kind of
How
slip
people
in there.
think, how people see that, how other people perceive them, like the Joneses type of fear. People are too worried about what other people think instead of looking within each person.
I'm working on yourself.
If we all worked on ourselves and not worried about what was around us, the world would be a far happier place.
Yeah, well, that's how we could make change. We did it for ourselves. As we do for ourselves, we do for everyone.
Until we can become whole within ourselves, sometimes you do have to be, how would you say, people think you're rude or something, but you have to be isolated to understand yourself. And then once you understand yourself, then you can go out and help other people or talk or show them different experiences.
Yeah.
And
That's right.
when you look at it through ancient times, meditation in every culture has been the connection to source. There's no difference within shamanism. It's, a lot of it is meditating, but it's meditating on a deeper level. And once you understand the connection, then how would you say, another world opens up to you. That's where the magic and the answers are lying. But it's within each one of us.
Our own journey.
That's it. That's why you never really hear a shaman talk about his experiences or his journey. Because by doing that, then other people compare themselves to that journey, and they think, oh, this thing is good, or this doesn't happen, or this and that.
Yeah.
So we try not to influence other people and let them have their own journey. Because that's what you were saying before, it's an individual journey. People don't, how would you say, when your time up, they don't put a gun to their head and say, oh, well, I'm going with you.
No.
So it's what you do within your own lifetime. It's like George Harrison said, live a life with no regrets. Because if we make mistakes, all we do is learn from the mistakes and carry on. But I see people are too hard on themselves when they make mistakes. I think people judge themselves too harshly sometimes, instead of just realising it's a simple mistake, and as we learn from it, then we move on.
And learn that mistake.
Yeah. Instead of being, by doing that, you're able to accomplish more. But when you're hard on yourself, then you fail, then you tell yourself you can't do it, and you'll never be able to do it.
Vicious cycle, because that's your body
Because
thought,
once
that's
you've
yourself
told yourself you can't do something, you'll never be able to.
How to
That's
do it.
talking about meditation, and that is the funny thing is that I hear a lot of people say, oh, they can't meditate. Of course they can't, because they've already told themselves they can't meditate.
They've confirmed it within themselves.
Yeah.
It's amazing the power of the word and how we use or misuse it in certain ways when we want to achieve something. And we'll use a negative word like can't.
Yes.
Or I'll do that later, or I'll hope. We think they're positive, but really they're negative words that we're telling ourselves we'll never do it.
Again, the mind kicks in, and there goes the cycle again.
Well, the mind is a very powerful thing. It's how do you say, it's one of the hardest things to not to conquer, because you never get rid of the mind. The mind is always there.
You treat it like a hard drive.
Exactly, it's like a computer, then you have control of it.
Yeah, it's not running the show.
If you allow that small voice inside you to grow louder, and then you have control of the mind. The mind doesn't control you. And that's where other doors open up. It's where you go past the illusion of what we can't do. Because really deep inside every person, they all have the ability to do a lot more than what they could ever imagine. Just the way we look at things. We look at things in a positive way, then positive things happen. We look at things in a negative way, guess what? Negative things happen.
Funny that, yeah.
And you can just watch, if you're a big observer for a while, you can watch other people and see how they get up in the morning, if you watch your family or whatever, and just have to be in observer mode and see how everything pans out, how if they're upset in the day, how the day progresses, because it seems to get worse and worse as it goes on.
And they decide to change that line of thinking. Snap out of it.
Which most people don't actually. They let it build and build and build, and then normally it's something they've got really no control over. It's something so small that they shouldn't be even worried about it in the first place. But they built it up in such a manner that it becomes this big thing that they've got to deal with.
Yeah. So here on the table, you've got quite a few shamanic tools here. So would you like to tell us about this one here?
This one here is what they call black obsidian ball, which the shaman uses it like a crystal ball or a seer's ball. They can look into it and it opens up and shows them images and people's past, present, just like a crystal ball does clear crystal ball does for a crystal reader. It also repels all negative energy. All obsidian crystals repel negative energy. They're handy to have around in a healing room to repel negative energy, so it doesn't stay around the tables or anything like that.
Can you tell us a bit more about this one?
Now this is what they call the Indigenous rainmaker type of thing. When it's done in a certain way, and certain things are said to call in the rain, while it's going like this. And that's virtually it, how the Indigenous people would call in the rain at times.
Okay.
Use their rainmaker and through the vibration, and that they bring in the rain.
Okay.
Everything is on sound and vibration.
What about these ones here?
So these are the Tibetan singing bowl and the Tibetan bell. And each one has a different vibration, sound that goes with it.
They're all sounding lovely.
We have that. This is what I use as eagle feathers and a smudge stick for when I'm doing healings or smudging an area. As we clear houses of negative energy or person, we always use sage and an eagle's feather to clear all the negative energies around that area so that the person can grow and release their fears from within.
What about these ones?
We're a bit tangled up, but that's the Shaman's medicine pouch, which he carries certain personal items and that he carries with him to amplify his energy. They might be crystal, different parts of his hair or teeth or whatever. They go inside his medicine bag. And this is what they call the Mayan mirror. It's a bit like the obsidian black crystal seer's ball, where when that's shiny, when you're staring into it and connect with it, you can also tell different past events or future, or it opens things up just like how the moon would, with the with the Incas, they would use water and the full moon, and their seers would look into, gaze into the water. Anything that has a reflection, and you get into a meditative state and become one with it, it can open up many different possibilities.
What about this one?
That's the American Indian rapper. As you go through, there's different sounds and different vibrations. later on I'll be playing through the meditation. I'll be playing with an American medicine drum. At the start I'll be playing the drum, so you'll hear the drum at the start of the meditation.
And I have here some bones.
Right. When I use these bones are from an eagle's wings. When I want to connect with the spirit of the eagle through a meditation, I'll set it up within my area of meditation to call in the eagle spirit for guidance and protection.
So it's that ability to be able to connect to the eagle. So that's obviously a shaman trait. And so when you have, say, students or people are looking, and they're looking for answers, and they start to feel different things, and so a shaman would also teach a student tools to be able to, say, connect to eagles and things like that. Would you?
All animals are our teachers, and all animals have like a totem or a spiritual meaning behind them. It's like when you have owl medicine, we see owls through the middle of the day, and they'll be around at all times. Same with any animal that's around you. It's virtually, even though it might be common, it depends on how it reacts to you. If it comes closer, if it flies away, then it's not yours. But if it comes closer and it doesn't fly away, or whatever animal it is, then that animal has a deep meaning for it. Like if, say, you came across deer, it would be like, deer would be meaning to be gentle and soft on yourself. The eagle is flies closest to the sun, to Mother Earth, to the God. And you have the hawk, which is messenger. Each animal represents a different message. If a person's, how would you say, wise enough and acknowledges the animals that are around it, they're all, it's like in a way numerology too, so when numbers appear around you, and it's constantly all those same numbers, it's trying to tell you something.
So through things like meditation and breathing, you could get a clear message, make it easier to get these messages.
But the more in tune you are within yourself, the more the messages will come through, or the understanding. Saying that, I think people find it hard to start with a meditation and to continue it on a regular basis, and that's where if they did continue it, then that's where the magic happens. It's because the more that you continually do it, the more deeper and deeper you go. At the start, it's very hard. Sometimes you get it, and other times you let your mind. But the more that you do it on a regular basis, the more that you see the benefits.
You have often talked about like being a shaman is you're walking a fine line because it's not It's not about being positive, it's not about being negative, but it's walking in between.
Exactly. It's where a shaman walks is neither good nor evil, dark or white. We walk in the middle. By walking in the middle, we go in both worlds.
Mm. Yeah.
To walk into both worlds, you've got to have a neutral to each side. Because in reality, nothing is bad, nothing is good. It just depends on our interpretation of what is good or what is bad.
Mm.
Everything is an experience, so how can it be bad or good?
Mm.
Until we learn from it.
So, on maybe a deeper question is, why is a shaman so important to this realm?
Well, the knowledge has been to show mankind how to come back to nature and become one with themselves.
Mm.
I think it's there's a big out of balance at the moment in the world.
Mm.
While there's a big swing in one direction, there needs to be a swing in the other direction.
Mm. Yeah, so people becoming more connected with nature.
And more in tune with themselves.
Yeah.
And like, as you say, it's hard when you're in a society. Sometimes you might have to go out through nature to actually feel that connection.
Mm.
Because I love being out in nature actually, and I've held meditations out in nature. The birds seem to get louder and they know you're coming and they rejoice.
Yeah.
Within nature they say that you can't even stay angry, that you can take the angriest person and in 15 minutes you'll start changing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it gives us that peace and time to ourselves,
Mm.
where most people don't.
Mm.
Most people in rush and they don't even sit down and think about certain things. They just, because they're so stressed out and worried all the time that they just follow the system without thinking on a deeper note.
Mm.
Is this really true or is this not true? Or,
Mm. Yeah, so it's important to question things.
Everything.
that's what I tell all my students, and that is too, that everything is change. And it also comes down to a belief and a trust.
Mm.
And it's not what I call a blind trusting somebody else.
It's trusting your inner self.
That little voice within yourself.
Mm.
The more that you can trust that, then you start going past the mind. Once you start going past the mind, that's where all the doors are.
Mm.
That's where what they say, the Buddhists say, that we have already the wisdom and knowledge within all of us.
Mm.
That's where a shaman is, I would say, as a trickster. They'll always say anything or do anything for that person to face their fears.
Mm.
What did you say the other four resembled again? You said there was the trickster and
The healer,
the healer.
the seer,
The seer,
and the shapeshifter.
and the shapeshifter. That's nice. And then so the fifth one would be
The
so
completion of the four.
the sum of all the parts. Makes sense, yeah. Very nice. And that would be what a shaman is. A shaman is the sum of all those parts.
But when he does the shamanic death, it's complete. He combines the whole four into one. That's why training as a shaman is a very hard journey in a lot of ways. Because until we fully get something, we might think we have it. But because we see it from our own vision, we don't see it from another point of view. That's where shamanism is by looking at all the possibilities and then finding the truth. Because that's what they say, the truth will set you free. That's what everybody is seeking, deep down, is their own truth. In reality, everybody's seeking their own truth, but in the end it's only one truth.
And so many different realities. So on that note, we're going to stop and have a